This is did Katy Perry's team take the Kate Middleton blueprint and just say we'll dress it later?
But like that was the J Lo and Ben things.
Everyone,
it's like,
we'll get to it later.
But like the longer you wait, the more the crazy conspiracy theories come out, and then we don't know what the answers are.
Should we be publicists?
I feel like there are a lot of jobs that we would be much better at than some of these people that have their professional jobs.
Yeah, we are so fucking bad at sitting here talking with the mic. Give us a different job. It's the Pop Report.
So juicy.
Hey, Miss Ma'am.
Hey.
Hi, Miss iPad Kid.
What's up?
Do you want to tell them what to do?
Subscribe to our podcast because we've been telling you week after week, and some of you are still not subscribed. So just hit the little button right now before you even finish this episode. Hit the subscribe button right now, and while you're at it, hit the like button because we look cute and you like the way we look. So hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and if you're listening to this on Apple or Spotify, then be sure to follow us there too, and leave us a review because we like all that good validation.
Girl, if you say we look cute, I don't feel cute today. I can tell you that much. This fucking heat wave has been
We
nuts.
have a photo shoot after this.
I know.
You better get it together.
I said I at least look cute. I don't feel cute.
Oh, yeah.
We've been through the ringer in the past, like, day 4 now we're on of this freaking heat wave?
It's supposed to be breaking, though. I think it's supposed to, like, start to cool up. At least that's what...
I'm breaking. I can tell you that much.
It's too much. And you don't have AC.
No.
Yeah.
And, like, we are a 10-degree difference than LA in the Santa Monica area.
Yeah.
So it is, like, 102 in LA proper, and it's, like, 92 on the beach side. And I'm like, that's fine, except I have to work at home. And there's no breeze as much as you expect. But it is chiller and cooler on the west side.
Yeah.
But I'm dying.
No, yeah. It's been, like, over 100 in downtown. I know I'm not in the valley, but it's been rough.
You are a bougie queen with AC and in-unit laundry.
I do have... Yes, I do have all those luxuries.
So sit and spin. What's new with you?
I got a haircut, and that's about it.
Okay.
I don't think there's anything else new with me. My Mormon Wives interview came out.
Oh, yes. I saw you interview the lovely Mormon wives on this couch.
Whitney and Macy. They were lovely. Interviews already gotten picked up in Daily Mail. So, you know, I know how to drive some headlines. I know how to spark a juicy interview.
So what's happening with the Mormon wives mom talk?
Listen, I don't know if Mom Talk can survive this. They are in ruins because their Queen Bee Whitney, who I interviewed, she's on the outs apparently. Because now the other Mom Talk moms are coming into my comments and they're just
like you're saying like Mom Talk, but it's Mom Talk.
Mom Talk. The other Mom Talk moms, Jessie, was coming into my comments and she's like commenting on my interview and she's just like, oh, real funny that Whitney wants to talk about this group that she's not even a part of anymore. And I was like, oh, shots fired.
Oh, I mean, not the shots.
All the shots.
That's a time.
But no, it's good. I mean, listen, it was the #1 show on Hulu over the weekend. People are loving
it.
The Mormon Wives. So I would highly, and now I'm like, now we need a reunion.
You know, I'd like to see it. Would you like to moderate?
Sure.
Well, in this episode, we have quite a few things to get to. We have Beyonce and CMAs. We have the breakdown of the U.S. Open, which a couple of things have come from that, surprisingly. And even things like SNL updates celebrating its season 50 announcements.
When are they going to cancel that show?
It's not what it used to. Anyway.
It's not very good.
So starting out in our hot in the headlines, have you seen the Beetlejuice drink that's come out?
Yeah, it looks like a hangover.
It looks
disgusting.
Like college frat house vibes.
No, you know what it reminds me of? The fishbowl drinks.
Oh,
the neon blue fishbowl drinks, and there's like stuff floating in it. They have, it's disgusting.
So if you've missed it, and if you haven't seen Beetlejuice just came out, and it seems that AMC is now like on this hemorrhage every time a movie comes out to, and other theaters, release a limited edition something.
Yeah.
Popcorn bucket, like after popcorn bucket, and they're like, fuck it. Let's go for a Beetlejuice drink this time. And I don't know if you've seen the promo photo of what it's supposed to look like, but it looks like a nice, like, obtuse little glass. And it's supposed to look like very, like, worm, like, adjacent. But the drink is, let me see what the official title is called. But it's called the Sandworm Slayer, which sounds like Dune to me if you don't know, like, Beetlejuice. But, yeah, basically, this drink is going for $31. and
which is insane.
It is literally looks like, I'm just gonna hold this on camera. It looks like a plastic cup.
Yeah, it's a fishbowl. It's just not in an actual fishbowl. It's literally just in a it's like a clear big gulp cup.
And it's
what, raspberry and blueberry flavored syrup and
girl, it's something. It's hangover flavored. That's what I'll tell you.
Yeah, it's flavored syrup in this neon blue drink, but the reason it's so expensive is because it's actually a cocktail and there's premium vodka in it, which
And
premium
it's 24
probably
ounces.
means
It's a big pour.
Well, it's like I don't think it's maybe it's a double. I don't think it's a double.
12 ounces is usually your standard drink, right? 12 or 16 ounces? Yes, bartender Jack.
No.
6 ounces.
Not 16. Yeah.
I used to work in a nursing home. We did 6-ounce scoops for like meals.
It's a little different than
I
a
know.
bartender, Andy.
I know. I'm just remembering like my ounces. I'm like, yeah, that's a big
Yeah,
pour.
drink, because cocktails usually in a short glass, but like these are in like a big gulp. But I don't think the full thing has 2 shots. It's not like a double. Like, when you go to a concert and they're like, do you want a single or a double? And I'm like, give me a fucking double. I don't want to come back and get another drink and wait in this line.
Yeah.
But I think this is a single. So it's like you get all this like slurpy concoction and then a shot in it. And it's like, that's not nearly enough alcohol.
Shout out to producer Jack who knows his shit and also bartends. But
who's looking for a haircut? So if anybody gives
yes,
complimentary haircuts to Jack on the weekends
in the LA area,
in the Los Angeles area, preferably what part of town, Jack? North Hollywood.
Okay. So this plus tip and like tax and everything, it's like nearly $40.
No, it's 31, wasn't it? It's 28 and then plus tax is 31.
But plus if you have to do a tip.
Why are you going to tip?
Do you tip for cocktails?
When there's a bartender, well, I mean, this is literally a person behind a camera.
It's
That's
a
like
movie
tipping
theaters.
at McDonald's. No, thank you.
But you tip at the bar for a cocktail, and you're like, wait, I'm tipping at AMC for a cocktail.
But is this at the bar? Oh, I guess it must be
It's
at the bar. I thought it was like at the concession stand.
There was a comment that said, if you're at the 8% of AMC theaters that are located in Illinois and opt in for the Sandworm Slayer, you can get the vibrant ice-filled plastic cup for an all-around cost.
That is, I don't know. I'm a little torn about the tipping piece because a lot of these theaters now, you order from your phone. You order from your phone and then you just pick it up, or sometimes they bring it to you. But then they still ask for a tip.
Can you do it with alcohol drinks? Like
you would have to, yeah, you would just have to. No, I don't think you can order to you, but you can pre-order. I don't know. I don't remember the last time I was at an AMC.
Yeah, I love screeners at home. So that's my.
Did you see Beetlejuice?
No, I haven't.
Oh,
did you?
So they didn't send you a screener.
What, did you see it?
No.
Okay, well, this all makes sense for the both of us then.
I do get lots of screeners though. I just don't watch them. Until I have to.
True.
I just got the Salt Lake City screener, and I'm excited to watch it, but it's just been sitting in my inbox.
What a first world problem. Well, moving on to other things.
That's not even first world. That's like a specialty tier of first world.
Moving on to other things that we did not watch. The U.S. Open.
Yeah, I had no interest.
Have you been keeping up with the U.S. Open? Because I keep getting things in my inbox for my job, reporting about photos, who's attended, who's been there. And as the U.S. Open progresses, obviously, it does become more of interest. So there's like certain styles of, seating and more and boxes.
Yeah.
But there's been a lot coming out with this whole like Taylor Swift and Brittany Mahomes situation that was this past weekend, Friday?
Was it Friday or what's today? Tuesday? I thought it was Saturday or Sunday.
Yeah. It was like
maybe
over the weekend and it
Saturday.
came full circle in Monday.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of discussion on it. But
I've seen her drunk dancing with Travis Kelce. They're having a good old time. People are like, oh my God, Taylor Swift is like singing and belting. She's living her best life there.
True tea. So to recap kind of where like this was before this moment, Taylor and Brittany Mahomes were seen not together. They have been friends for quite some time. But as of late, there have been reports of screenshots and people finding Brittany Mahomes liking very pro-Trump rhetoric and unliking things, but fans screenshotted, these specific comments and likes and more. But then former President Donald Trump came out and said, thank you, Brittany Mahomes, for the support. She also made some comments, but people have been
I don't
looking.
think she made comments. She posted like some vague
She posted some
Instagram story about like not caring like about people's opinions or something.
Yeah, it was along the lines of like,
I think she like reshared a meme and people thought that was in relation to
Right.
the
Right.
controversy.
So she shared some things that people were attributing to this situation.
Yeah.
And so over the weekend, there's a photo of Taylor and Brittany embracing, and people had suspected that because of the news prior, they were sitting in separate boxes, that was them taking space for like a friendship and this different views. But people are disappointed in Taylor Swift because of how, as of late, there have been a couple things about the election that have come up, and some directly involving Taylor, some not, or close to home for Taylor. But back in the previous election, she did the Miss Americana documentary, and she said, I want to be on the right side of politics. I want to be like, you know, in the right form, getting my voice heard. I want to speak. I've been so afraid to, but I want to make sure I do this right. So she obviously, as of late, had a few things that directly involved her, like the AI Swifties for Trump. There were generated images that came out that people were honestly looking for Taylor to say, like, this isn't correct. Like, to say some sort of...
Well, why would she say that, though? Like, people are entitled to have their political opinions, and I don't think somebody as famous as Taylor Swift is going to have people that support her across the board. And she knew that she has plenty of Republican supporters, and that's part of the reason she put out the Miss America documentary, is to put forth her stance. But I don't think it's her responsibility to police who her fans decide to endorse.
That's correct. I think that, though, people were looking for her to say, like, hey, like, this isn't a correct thing, though. Like, if you're going to associate...
It's not her responsibility to police what people feel if they're part of her fan base. She has a worldwide fan base, and she can't tackle every single issue or tell people this isn't right if they in their hearts feel that it's right.
Right. But there was falsified pictures put up of AI that were like about her fan base and at concerts that did not happen specifically. So,
I mean, there are plenty of AI pictures that are surfaced that are non-political that celebrities don't speak about.
True. But people are disappointed that for how her past history has been, and people have been having a big debate of like Brittany and Taylor's relationship and friendship when it comes to what seems to be their opposing political views, and people have been waiting for Taylor to say something in this election, because she did say something in the last election.
Right.
There have been campaigns that are Swifties for Kamala that have been like fundraising. There's been a lot of things that have directly involved her fan base, but she hasn't spoken directly on either side of this. So it's made people just a little wondering where even she herself is right now with all this going on.
I mean, and she may be questioning that herself. Just because she was outspoken in a previous election doesn't mean that she has to be outspoken in this election. I think people put too much responsibility on celebrities to endorse candidates when, one, that's not their responsibility, and two, as voters, we shouldn't rely on a celebrity endorsement to decide who we should vote for. That's not, like, I'm not going to be like, oh, this celebrity likes Trump or this celebrity likes Kamala Harris, and I'm not going to allow a celebrity's opinion to dictate how I decide to vote. As an informed citizen of this country that wants to be politically active, I'm going to do my own research and not allow somebody else's opinion to sway mine without making a decision that I feel is informed for myself for the betterment of my country. So I think I saw even Vogue reacted to, or not Vogue, sorry, Variety reacted to this, and they, hold on, I'll read their direct headline.
Oh, the direct headline's coming out.
They said, if Taylor Swift doesn't endorse Kamala Harris, she'd be entering a new era. And I think the feedback, I mean, I've been very critical of Taylor Swift on this podcast a number of times. There's no doubting that. But I think in this case, I think people are being a little too hard on her. She's not endorsing Brittany Mahomes. I mean, and here's the thing. She can still dislike Trump and also not really care for Kamala. And that's her prerogative. There are plenty of Democrats that don't like Kamala. There are plenty of Republicans that don't like Trump. Like, expecting a celebrity or trying to bully a celebrity, which I do think Variety, in this case, this is a form of bullying by trying to tarnish her public reputation by not endorsing a candidate that maybe she likes her, maybe she doesn't like her, but I don't think we should be putting pressure on her to endorse somebody that she doesn't feel fully compelled to endorse. Otherwise, she would have done it by now. And then when it comes to her and Brittany Mahomes, I mean, we also don't even know what Brittany Mahomes' politics are. I remember one time I liked a photo. There was a housewife, Kelly Dodd, who's very controversial, and she posted something. It was right after the Trump assassination, and she posted something about like, how sad is it that our country has gotten to this place where people, and we've seen this in history before, people trying to assassinate presidents, and they've been successful in certain instances. And she was just like, it's unfortunate that our country is so divided right now that we're going to try to assassinate a former president. And I liked that photo. And then I remember somebody then came into our comments. I think it was on our cover photo for the Pop Report. And they were like, Zack, I'm so disappointed in you. I didn't realize you were MAGA. And I was like, where did that come from? Like, I'm not like a crazy diehard like, where are you getting this from? And she's like, I saw that you liked a photo on Instagram, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, I don't even know what photo you're referring to. And then I went and I looked back, and then I asked her, I go, what photo are you referring to? I don't remember liking anything that was pro MAGA. And then she's like, on Kelly Dodd's page, there was a photo of Trump after his assassination attempt and blah, blah, blah. But my point is, me liking that photo, which was in my headspace and in my heart, it was a very general statement about how disappointed I am as an American that our country is so divided. And I agreed with that sentiment. Does that mean that I agree with Kelly Dodd politically? No. Does that mean that I'm...
This sounds like a very Selling Sunset Nicole and Chriselle situation, but continue.
But that's how silly it is that we take somebody's like on a post or somebody hugging their friend at a U.S. Open and immediately turn this into an issue when we don't even know the details or the context of that issue. And if anything, and I was very outspoken about this on my own platforms, I was glad to see Taylor Swift hugging Britney. We're making up what we think their political affiliations are. But the fact that they can put that issue aside for them and still be able to hold and maintain their friendship, even if it's not deep, maybe they don't discuss politics, maybe it's, superficial, but the fact that they can still have a mutual respect for each other is something that I think we're lacking in our country right now.
I think it's hard right now because the situation of Taylor, looking at how she previously opposed Trump and she has said, I will never support Trump.
She's not supporting Trump.
Correct. But
we don't even know that Brittany is even a supporter of Trump outside of liking some posts on Instagram, which again, don't mean an endorsement.
So at least though, like when it comes to the situation, people are looking at this saying, okay, for not endorsing Trump in the situation, people right now do have a lot of issues that are up on the line. There's a difference between human rights disagreements versus like political disagreements. Political disagreements, it's fine to have different ones, but there are certain things that are getting grouped into political differences, like transgender rights, when it comes to gay rights, when it comes to like just certain things that are as we all should have as human beings to live free. When it comes to money, responsibilities, and everything else, that's political. Like how you believe money should be distributed between like schools, between like different practices like in government and military, like that's politics. Like there's certain things that are straight up politics, but there's things that are being grouped into politics that are human rights issues, and those are things that people are really having a hard time when it comes to like saying, oh, this is politics. It's like not necessarily. Like we're talking about deporting people who could be your friends, and if you're friends with someone who could potentially be deported and your other friend is not in agreement of this, then it's like it can make hard rifts and friendships and more. And it could make a hard time, saying, is this friendship going to be what it's still going to be?
Right. But those are a lot of hypothetical situations, and we're making up the narrative for what we think people believe without actually knowing that. And I think if we're talking about Taylor Swift and Brittany Mahomes, we don't know what their political affiliation, and we don't know what it is that they actually stand for. And, I think people often, are like, oh, if you vote for this person or if you vote for that person, we want to then attribute that to somebody's character. When if there's anything I've learned from these last two election cycles, and especially this one, it's that when you stop and talk to somebody that is voting in opposition of your vote, and you actually have a conversation with them, especially when they're people in your own lives. I have family members and I have friends that have voted for Donald Trump and that very may likely vote for Donald Trump in this upcoming election. And I refuse to cut them out of my life because I've had conversations with them and I've gotten to know them, and I judge people based off of who they are, what their character is, and what their daily choices are. I don't judge somebody based off of a decision that they make in an election, because at the end of the day, there are plenty of people that are voting for Trump and there are plenty of people that are voting for Kamala that don't like or agree with him. There are plenty of people on the Democratic side that won't vote for Kamala Harris because they believe that the current administration is funding a genocide. Whether I believe that or not is beside the point, but that's something that they don't want to put their vote behind because they think that that's they think that the Democratic Party is, a war-hungry, party that's right now hurting a bunch of Palestinian people. And again, these are issues that when you break them down and you add context, they're so much more complex than what we want to make them. So when we turn this into such a black and white issue and judge people based off of how they choose to cast a vote, when we only have two options, and the reality is people, we're multifaceted. We're not going to fit in a blue box or a red box, and we're not going to completely identify with one or the other. And I think there's a threat to people's rights, whether you vote blue or whether you vote red. And I believe in my heart that's a very real reality for a lot of people, depending on what their viewpoint is. And there are plenty of people that I know that are voting for Donald Trump that, whether I agree with them or not, I understand them better. And I know that their votes and their decisions aren't based in racism or homophobia or in hatred in any way, but they genuinely believe that it's the better of, in their head, the better of the two evils. And when I listen to them and I get their experiences, especially when they're immigrants or they're people of color or they are people of the LGBT community and they feel abandoned by the DNC or the Democratic Party because they don't feel like their voice or the issues that matter to them are being heard, I can't tell them not to vote for somebody because I personally wouldn't make that choice. And I'm also not the type of person that's going to cut them out of my life, because I would rather cut you out of my life for you being a shitty person and for you lacking, values that mean something to me. Like, if you're a crazy extremist and we don't have anything in common, I don't need you in my life. But if you're just a good person that's choosing to make a decision that maybe I don't fully agree with, but I can at least have a conversation with you and understand it, that's different. So I do support Taylor Swift hugging Brittany Mahomes, and I hope that they do continue to have a friendship, because I think we need more of that so that as a country as a whole, we can be more united rather than divided. Because the more that we break people down for their politics and judge them and make up who we think that they are based off of their political affiliation, the more divided we become and the more of this contrast we have in this country. And I stand by that. I said that on the internet. Surprisingly, majority of the people happen to agree with me on both sides of the political spectrum. I think people want to have less of this division and want to connect. And when we actually break down these walls, we realize we're so much more alike than we are different. There are 10 qualities that we can have, and 8 or 9 of them we may be similar on. And I'm not going to cut somebody out because of just one. And I get it. Some people feel like there are threats to their human rights right now, but that goes across the board. There are people that feel that way on both sides. And I'm going to judge someone based off of my experience with them and who I see them being on a daily basis rather than what they decide to choose in the voting polls.
Well, I have a lot of thoughts, but I think we're out of time for that. And I'm glad you said
No, I think you should share your thoughts. That's not fair that I have my thoughts and you don't have yours.
Well, I just think there's a lot more human rights at stake than, obviously there's a big war going on, but when we talk about things that this is politics, it's I think it'd be different if it was a different candidate, and there's a lot more candidates that right now on the Republican side are putting up a lot more human rights than politics, and it's very hard to say I'm going to look the other way for these 5 versus this one when it comes to some things. If you want to have me just speak a little bit, it's just hard. It's disheartening to hear transgender people. I, as a gay person, am so afraid anytime I see a Trump supporter wearing a Trump hat, a Trump shirt, and I'm sitting next to them. We have politicized and celebritized people like Donald Trump. And there are people who do that with Kamala. Obviously, I don't agree with it in general, but I don't feel the unsafety I feel sitting next to someone who is proudly displaying like a Trump shirt. It as someone who just sat in and out the other day and had a man stare at me very deeply down. Don't know this person, but seeing that is like, are they judging me for the color of my skin? Are they judging me for being a gay person? It as just what is visible is very hard to put aside some of these things of just general safety for someone like me. There's some people who can put that aside and say, you know what, like, I think these business policies are great. Well, okay, that's politics and politics. We can look at other candidates and say, look at business practices on liberal sides and Republican sides, but there are things that a lot of people in the Republican Party have put up for debate that should not be involved in politics. They're just human rights issues. And it makes it very hard to sit here and say, you know, the right to marry is going to be up for debate. The right to have children.
Is it?
Yeah. Have you looked at Project 2025?
Yeah, I also know that Donald Trump has distanced himself from Project 2025. And I know that Project 2025 came from a foundation that has no role in our government. It's an independent agency. They've put that out there. And I also have seen a lot of the DNC misrepresent that. It's hard because I feel like I'm not Republican and I'm not pro-Trump, but I do feel like there are issues like that people take out of context without actually, like, the first time I ever heard of Project 2025, I am like, what is this? I looked it up, and then I saw that it had no attribution to Trump and that he had publicly distanced himself from that. And I think we get into this dangerous territory where we do this fear mongering and we tell people you're going to lose your rights as a result of this. And I think that it does people a disservice because it disempowers them from researching these things on their own. If this were the 2016 election or the 2020 election, I would have believed that talking point that Donald Trump is for Project 2025. And it's not until I actually decided to take myself out of that and look up what this actually is and where Project 2025 originated from, and to know that Donald Trump has absolutely no connection to that.
Well, the thing is, though, like, the Supreme Court justices he's appointed, for the past history as well, just to put my final thoughts on this, to have a convicted felon, to have someone who has said yes to things and then no to things and yes again, there's no true...
As has Kamala.
That's different.
She's changed her position on many issues. I feel like the same arguments people make against Donald Trump, you can also make against Kamala Harris, but we've turned this into an evil versus good argument. And that's not to say that Trump is a good person.
Let me finish my thoughts. Like the debates are on human rights. The policies on government, people do that all the time. I couldn't do because of X. I couldn't do because of Y. But we have all of these bans going on and all these proposed bills going on for transgender, women's rights, and more, that, like, you hear someone who's like, I actually have no control over this. It's actually like, you do have control over it. And these are not things that are...
So what rights do we feel like we're losing should Trump win? When we actually break it down,
Roe versus Wade.
Okay, so my understanding of Roe versus Wade is it took that decision away from the federal government and it's put that decision into the states. Now, Roe versus Wade was overturned under the Biden administration. I understand that Trump appointed certain people that have made that decision, but how does that now prevent a woman from having rights right now?
Because of the treatment for IVF and for...
Hasn't Trump publicly endorsed wanting to support IVF?
He also said no to IVF in the past. So it's like, how do you sit here? It's hard to believe any candidate.
Right.
But a lot of the things that Trump has put up are human rights issues. The things that are up for debate are very hard. So just to sit here and to...
Well, back to the original question, what rights have women lost? Or what rights do we think women are going to... Or actually, let's take women off the table. Because... No, because it's not fair of you and I to speak about a woman's right when, we're not women. So what rights as gay men do we think we're losing should Trump win? Because we have had Trump already as a president. He won back in 2016 and was our president for 4 years. I don't remember losing any rights during that time. So what rights do we fear that he's going to take away from us should he win again?
People are looking to make the right to marry up for state regulation. to
Okay.
have that religious freedom and enact that so gay and LGBTQ plus people can't marry on a national level. And it'll be up to what the Trump administration wants is a state regulated for a lot of different policies. So
Right.
a lot of these states are now split up on a lot of different issues when it comes to, obviously, we talked about in the past abortion, but now we're talking about the right to marry.
Right.
We're talking about transgender bans. We're talking about
But we're not transgender. So let's get back to the gay rights issue. So if we take, let's just say hypothetically, Trump comes into office first day and is like, you know what? I hate all the gays, even though I believe he even hosted a gay wedding at his house and has been one of the only presidents, I think, aside from, Obama endorsing or supporting the gay community. He even went on stage and put up a rainbow flag. It's so crazy because I feel like I'm not a supporter of Donald Trump, but yet the fact that I'm bringing, but I think it's because a lot of, the arguments that I hear lack the context that I think is relevant, because as a gay man, I'm not afraid of Trump becoming president. I don't feel like I'm going to lose any rights. So I do want to understand, well, what rights am I actually losing so that come November, I can make that choice and be like, wow, I'm afraid of this affecting me.
Yeah.
In my rights when it comes to my right to marriage, which to me, marriage is not even a priority because I have no intention of getting married, but I do believe that other gay men should have the right to get married. But should that even be overturned on a federal level, that still doesn't mean that as gay men, we can't get married in the United States.
It could be. It could be an issue, but
it could be, and that's why it's important for us to be involved on a local level and vote for people in a state level to make sure that those politicians are also the ones that are upstanding our basic civil rights.
So my last thing I'm going to say, I know you jumped in a couple of times on me coming on this. If we go state to state and compare gay marriage, you're going to look at people in Arizona and say, I can marry, but you can't, or they can marry, but you can't. And it's going to be very divided as a country. Yeah. We don't have the light. We haven't had the White House lit up for Pride Month the way it has in previous administrations when we've had Trump. We haven't had Pride celebrations with the administration.
Did we have it lit up under Biden?
Yes.
Okay.
We've had Kamala Harris hosting Pride organizations with drag queens and more for Pride Month at the vice president's residence. We have never had that with Trump's organization.
Fair.
So there, as a last thing, as a gay person, I look and say, you're not supportive of me. You may say you are, but your actions say different. And I'd like to move on to the next thing. So I know we covered a lot of time with this.
Okay.
But I appreciate our conversation on it.
As a gay man, I disagree, but I know there's a lot of other issues we do agree on, and I think it's fair to have these conversations.
Yeah.
I also want to be fair. I didn't add the Taylor Swift Brittany Mahomes topic to our notes.
I know that if
for this
didn't,
exact,
people would be like, why aren't you guys talking about like one of the biggest things that, or at least like being discussed on the internet? It's difficult to have these conversations. Sometimes it's needed, though.
I agree.
In
okay,
other
what's
news,
next on the roster?
Did you see about this wild? Okay, I feel like we need to turn things to like a fun, wild note.
Okay.
I'm going to talk about my weird story of the week with you.
Okay, what is your weird story of the week?
My weed story of the week. Now, did you play with Legos as a kid?
A little bit. I just felt Legos to me were like jigsaw puzzles where it's like putting them together was like too much work and I would get bored.
Okay. So I'm going to read you this story. Okay. And as always, live react to whatever I'm saying. But there's an article from People Magazine that just came out. Okay. And it says, Arizona resident finds piece of Lego stuck up their nose nearly 3 decades later after putting it there as a child.
3 years?
3 decades. So 30.
3 decades. How? No.
So an Arizona resident was met with an unexpected surprise when they blew their nose in the shower recently. This is word for word in the article. Andy Norton, spelled with an I, not with a Y, who also goes by the name Ben Havoc, explained on Instagram saying they shoved a Lego piece up in their nose when they were 6 in the 90s. However, despite mom previously thinking she got it out, it turned out that a piece remained in the nostril for the next 26 years. And they realized that it was there. The doctor had told at that time that the dry, hot summer months, it's helpful to blow your nose while you're in the shower because of humidity and steam and everything. And so Andy shared this clip and said, quote, it really helps kind of clear everything out, don't you think? So the whole life of this person, they had sensitivity to allergies and issues with congestion. Since then, this person has been allergic to cats, dogs, grass, much of native trees, and dust, and they've always been exposed to a lot of these things, but they've consumed this thought it was just because of allergies.
How do you live your life with a Lego shoved up your nose? Like,
I don't know. Don't know, girl. Like,
wait, how did we find out that there was he just blew his nose and it
blew
came
his
out.
nose in the shower. He said, "I am shooketh" on Instagram.
Has he never blown his nose that hard before? It's been 26 years.
I mean, as a child, you don't know if you're just like growing up with that. You're like, I just don't remember as a child like certain memories of when my nose stopped
But
functioning.
I mean, you would like sneeze or blow your nose at some point that I would think like you would feel a little, I don't know.
I just kind of wonder for a checkup of a
crazy.
doctor. They didn't go like, let's go up in the nose and put a camera up in there and see how your nostrils are doing.
Yeah, like if your allergies were that bad, you would think like you would do like some sort of, investigation into the nose and the sinuses.
I know. So I know we're limited on time, but we might get to a few stories. We might not. We can
brush it. We can
hard.
Power through the rest.
Power through her.
Yeah.
Did you see BTS is now being fined?
Dumb.
Okay.
I'm actually in the BTS. What is it? The BTS army?
Yeah, it's Suga from BTS. Being fined.
Sugar, how you get so fly? So he's being fined for driving under the influence, and he was on a scooter, right?
Correct. So
dumb.
There's no trial that's going to happen. It's just straight to fine. He was 3 times the legal limit.
Oof.
Which,
all he's going to do is hurt himself.
I mean, you never know. You could run into somebody or a person,
but you're not going to run them over.
You never know. Like,
I mean, how was he even getting that far?
I don't know.
I would have assumed he would have crashed into something at some point.
So he's going to be ordered to pay a fine and not need to go to trial. The expedited process is used for minor offenses.
Yeah, I saw his fan base has like put out a petition and they're like fighting to make him not have to pay that fine. Dumb.
Have you ever ridden a scooter drunk like BTS?
I've only ridden a scooter once. It was after a date, and I rode the scooter with the guy that I was on a date. He's like, it's going to be fine.
No, it's not. You're going to hit a speed bump and go ejecting out.
I was terrified the entire time. I did not enjoy it.
You ever double up on a scooter?
That's why we were doubled up on the scooter.
I've been a little not sober on a scooter and, just feared for my life, but I only went half a mile.
Those little things are fast.
30 miles per hour, 22 miles per hour, 18, whatever it is. Anything over 15, good luck.
Still too fast for me.
Well, did you also see that Beyonce has been skipped out in the CMAs?
I did, and I wasn't really surprised because I personally didn't think the album was that good.
So, I mean, regardless if you think the album's good or not,
Isn't that how we determine who gets nominated?
That is correct. There were like 1 or 2 songs I was like, I think this deserves like a nom of some sort.
Which one? This Ain't Texas.
Yeah.
Ain't no hold 'em.
Mm-hmm. Hold 'em.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that was like,
that one was catchy.
That one should have been it. But people debate, is this really country? I'm sorry. Lady A was up in country, and like Maren Morris was in country, and there's more like upbeat poppy country. There's more like folk country, but it's like, that's why Maren Morris also left, just for a ton of reasons. She's like, the country scene is so against a lot of different ideas and progression, and so Beyonce fans are like, the hell? Like, is this because of the music? Like, it's weird. I'm not gonna lie. It's weird that at least not one of the songs was nominated for like best like song of the year or something. Or
I mean, I'm not a big country music fan, but I mean the country songs that I do like, I'm not going to Beyonce as like the country music songs that I enjoy. I personally didn't think the album was that good. I mean, and I know it ranked well on the charts, but I think it ranked well because she's Beyonce and she has, a strong fan base. But just because somebody, like look at how many times Taylor Swift was able to manipulate the charts to stay on top. That doesn't necessarily mean that her, what was it? Desperate Poet, Sad Poet. What was the poets?
Tortured Poets.
Tortured Poet. Oh, God. I felt like a tortured poet listening to it. But I would hope that's not nominated for a fucking Grammy because that wasn't good either.
Well, at least there's a couple songs. You can say like the album as a whole at times are like, me, but you can say, okay, this song charted. This song did really well. People listened to it. People streamed it.
But I think maybe in like the mainstream music world, right? Like in the pop world, that song charted well on Kiss FM, right? Which is still mainstream, pop. Like there are many, I think.
But if it's like song of the year.
Was it song of the year?
Let's say it's like song of the year and you're like.
You love hypotheticals.
I love. But like, let's say it's song of the year and you're like, here's the top 4 that charted, and you're gonna pick between.
But you have to then determine what defines song of the year. Is it just because it got the most amount of streams, and not necessarily because it?
Would you disagree with that theory though?
What
if it got streamed a ton, listened to a ton?
I would be if it did get song of the year. But then again, it's like the Billboard charts. I mean, hello, your girlfriend Chappell Roan said it best that like these charts really don't mean anything in terms of quality of the actual music.
Yeah, I mean, it's up for debate of like how we want to judge like the integrity of a song. Is it just classically like written well?
I'm
Is
not
it,
a
like,
country music, but I mean, it's also like Dancing with the Stars. Like anybody can go and like Raygun said that she's, you know, a break dancer, and some people really enjoyed Raygun, and Raygun went viral on the internet for, you know, her break dancing moment. But if you threw her on Dancing with the Stars, if she doesn't hit the technicalities of the cha-cha-cha, she's not going to get 10 out of 10 because she didn't hit those technicalities of the cha-cha-cha. I don't know how that's judged. I don't know dance just as much as I don't know country music, but I mean, listen, I definitely liked Texas Hold'em. It was catchy for sure.
Mm-hmm. What time did we start this podcast? I'm like, how deep are we in?
I think we started like at 10:30.
Nice. Okay. Well, look at us in the morning. Still,
we have
having
Watch
it.
or Skip. Selling Sunset. You watched it. Watch or Skip.
Girl, that's why I'm tired.
Yay or nay?
That's why I'm tired because I've been binging through this season.
Yay or nay? Watch or Skip.
Watch it.
Okay.
I think if you've been in the franchise, you will still keep up. Like, I
Okay.
know it's not as good as what it used to be. There's obviously like
there's no more Christine Quinn.
there's a lot of people who honestly I'd like to see Heather back. We had an appearance from Maya this season.
Did you see the rumor? What was the rumor? Give us the tea.
Spoiler.
Okay,
Ready?
spoiler. Sorry.
If I'm gonna time myself for a minute, so that way if you need to skip,
Okay.
you have a minute.
Go.
So this season is really rooted into the divorce that is going on in the office.
What's the divorce?
You didn't know these headlines that came out?
What was the divorce?
Chelsea's divorce.
Okay, Chelsea's divorce.
So Chelsea's divorce comes to light,
Okay.
and it is details that we didn't really know from when it was filed into, you know, the general public. And when we had like TMZ and other people reporting on it, we didn't know any details really. But this shows that Chelsea's husband allegedly
Mhm.
made out with a woman multiple times in the W Hotel lobby
Oh.
in public. So a lot of this is this season, episode by episode, going through with Brie Taisi coming to Chelsea saying, I know we're not on the best, you know, path. We haven't been, but like I got this info. Someone gave it to me. And this whole debate is like, did Brie ask for this knowingly? And they do break the fourth wall of addressing someone asked me to film with them, which you never really get on
Yeah.
these type of reality shows. So people are like, this is trippy because people are talking about the filming schedules and wanting to bring something to camera. But like, it does get very tricky because of the fourth wall stuff. And they do talk about screenshots of people and more. And it's hard to follow.
So then what do you feel about Chrishell coming out and being like, this is a false rumor?
I haven't gotten there yet about the full side of. There's a rumor that Emma had been allegedly interested in married people of some sort.
Okay, so you haven't gotten to that in the season yet.
They've addressed it, but we
Okay.
haven't gotten that far. I'm on episode 8.
Okay.
So back to
Okay, so
if
you
you're
say
listening,
watch it.
if you're listening,
Okay.
you can now resume. And this is us talking about the Mormon wives.
Yeah, Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. It's good. Watch it, binge it. It's only 8 episodes. Most people binge it over the weekend. And then you can listen to my interview with Whitney and Macy, which has a lot of spoilers and is very juicy. Okay, SNL adds 3 new cast members for season 50.
You said let's really power through.
Yeah.
SNL is coming out with a 50th anniversary special
Skip it.
at some point, I'm
Pass.
sure. But they've added 3 new cast members: Ashley Padilla, Emil Joachim, and Jane Wickline. I
Don't
hope I
care.
said those all correctly. And yeah, Chloe Trost is departing.
Good for her. I'm going to skip it. Are you going to watch it?
I mean, there's definitely a lot that comes out like in presidential election seasons about SNL.
I will say
and
SNL
that's the
does
good.
good presidential skits.
So
That's where they shine.
I'm really excited to see that, but like I really want some good writing and good talent to come back into SNL.
Yeah, it's gotten a little hokey pokey. Okay. We have an update, a royal update.
Okay, I'd love to leave this as our last maybe topic of the podcast. If there's anything else you have present.
Well, this and I think the Rachel Zoe divorce announcement has gotten a lot of people worked up.
Got it. Okay.
Which I think is sad because Rachel Zoe's divorcing Roger. We obviously watched them on the Zoe project. They've been together for what, like over 20 years?
26 years? Something like that?
26 years, yeah. Which is sad, but they're divorcing and they're saying that it's amicable. So let's bring her back to reality television. And then Kate Middleton, royal update. So Kate Middleton did a video with Prince William, or yeah, he's not king yet, Prince William, and
King
the kids.
William.
Well, because I was like, wait, didn't someone become a king? But it was King Charles. Prince Charles became King Charles. Saying that her early stage of chemo has ended. She's doing well. She's recovering, and she's expected to come back to public life soon, which is a good update. And I'm happy for her. I just wish they would have addressed some of these things a little earlier before the speculation really got out of control, because everybody was running with their theories about her being locked in a basement. And I was like,
This is did Katy Perry's team take the Kate Middleton blueprint and just say, we'll dress it later?
but like that was the J-Lo and Ben things.
Everyone,
it's like,
we'll get to it later.
But like the longer you wait, the more the crazy conspiracy theories come out, and then we don't know what the answers
Should we
are.
be publicists?
I feel like there are a lot of jobs that we would be much better at than some of these people that have their professional jobs.
Yeah, we are so fucking bad at sitting here talking with the mic. Give us a different job.
Yeah, let us get into some strategy, or we'll be some consultants. We don't maybe need to be publicists, but we'll consult.
We will consult.
We know the news really well because we cover it so often.
I know, and I have a good time still, even though we have some hard conversations here. Like,
those are important conversations.
they
to
are,
have,
and it's like, it's not just fun, silly bitch news. It's like they're real lives, they're real people.
Yeah.
Sometimes reporting this shit is like, okay, here's like we come in here with like a fun mood, and we're like, someone died. Someone's getting divorced.
I know. I still feel bad for laughing when we were talking about Mariah Carey's mom dying.
You get really uncomfortable sometimes.
I'm like getting uncomfortable about it now. I don't like the death stories when people die.
It's hard, but we're also approaching 50 episodes soon ourselves.
I was like 50. I was like, how old are you?
50?
50. Wow, that was fast.
Yeah, we're in like the 30s right now.
Most people don't last this long.
Most people, I do in bed. Kidding. But yeah, like things have been wild. We've been very blessed that we've been able to keep going this long.
Hashtag blessed.
And some people go crazy and they're
Praise
like,
Jesus.
they're like, I hate you. I don't want to do this anymore.
We haven't gotten to that point yet.
You want to get to that point is what you're saying?
No, I don't want to. Trust me, I've been in enough of like the social media drama. I don't want to have. No, I don't want to.
Oh, well, cheers to you and cheers
Cheers
to
to
me.
us. 50 episodes.
Not there yet.
Almost, but we're getting there. We're going to get there.
But obviously, if you love the Pop Report, we love you tuning in. We try to keep these very snackable in enough time that you can binge onto work, binge onto wherever. Subscribe if you can. We have some fun opportunities coming up for maybe the general public in the future, maybe then this year. Who fucking knows? But wherever you are, stay safe, stay blessed. Keep both hands on the fucking wheel.
Yes.
That's my advice.
There we go. Praise
everybody.
Jesus.
Bye, everybody.